It's Tuesday, the 27th day of July 2021. Good evening and welcome to Hope TV News Watch. I'm Tess Njenga and my sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Let us get you briefed on the day's stories. A new poll has shown that a majority of Kenyans believe the country is headed in the wrong direction. The Trends and Insights for Africa TIFA poll conducted between June 28th and July 24th, 2021 cites the high cost of living, unemployment, political issues, corruption, the effects of COVID-19 pandemic, and public debt as the causes for alarm. The survey released on Tuesday addressed a wide range of critical economic, political, and social welfare public issues. Alice Diana begins our bulletin with this report.
With only 1 year left to the next general election, at least 72% of Kenyans believe that the country is headed in the wrong direction, while only 12% feel the country is headed to the right direction. This is according to a latest survey released by the Trends and Insights for Africa TIFA on Tuesday. According to those who feel the country is headed to the wrong direction, 38% cited high cost of living as one of the causes for alarm, 16% cited unemployment, 13% cited political issues, 10% cited corruption, another 10% cited COVID-19 pandemic effects, while 5% mentioned debt. For those who said the country is headed to the right direction, 18% cited COVID-19 management, 14% mentioned infrastructure, 9% cited education, 8% mentioned cost of living, 9% cited political issues, while 6% mentioned employment. From the findings, 14% of those polled said the country is neither headed to the right nor wrong direction, while 2% did not respond to the question. The TIFA survey further revealed that 47% of those polled believe President Uhuru Kenyatta's greatest legacy is the launch of infrastructure projects, including the standard gauge railway, enhancing national unity through the handshake, expanding the electricity grid, as well as providing jobs and financial support for the needy. According to the same poll, increased public debt, economic hardship among Kenyans, increased corruption, violation of the constitution, and betrayal of his deputy president are among the negative sides of Uhuru's tenure. The poll involved 1,550 respondents, with data being collected through telephonic interviews. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Alice Diana.
Thank you, Alice, for that report. President Uhuru Kenyatta has invited the United Kingdom investors to tap into emerging business opportunities in Kenya, saying the country remains one of the most attractive investment destinations in Africa. The president showcased 10 investment opportunities, among them Nairobi Smart Street Lights Project, Nairobi Bus Rapid Transport System, Intelligent Traffic Management System Project, and Galana Kulalu Food Security Project. The head of state made the invitation during business forum hosted by UK Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab and the Lord Mayor of the City of London, William Russell, at Mansion House, the Lord's Mayor official residence.
The Nairobi International Financial Center is a new business environment established to make it easier and more attractive to invest in Kenya and the wider region. It is an initiative that goes back to the time when I was the Minister of Finance, and although it has taken a while to get here, I am pleased to say that it will soon be open for business. The center will prioritize attracting capital and investment into infrastructure and development projects, but will also focus on attracting green finance for sustainable economic development and investments into fintech and new areas of innovation, building on the emerging fintech ecosystems. I am equally glad to announce our intention to deepen cooperation with the Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office, and the Government of Kenya has expressed through a memorandum of understanding to be formalized between the Private Sector Infrastructure Development Group. The cooperation with the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office is for a possible funding through Private Sector Infrastructure Development Group of $1.3 billion US dollars to support early and transaction PPP project development activities in Kenya.
The Orange Democratic Movement ODM leader Raila Odinga has declared the start of a new wave to unite the country with countrywide rallies. Speaking in Murang'a County at the home of Royal Media Services SK Macharia, Raila said the new face of politics has been revealed and will tour the country in the spirit of handshake to unite Kenyans. The event that saw leaders from across the political divide congregate to celebrate Kenyan artists also saw politicians poke holes on the Deputy President William Ruto Hustler movement.
BBI, Mwenyezi Mungu atusaidie iweze kuwako, tusunguke Kenya hii. Nyinyi watu wa Central, wakati BBI itapita, ndio mtakuja kujua kitu gani huyu mzee anawaletea watu wa Central.
Wale wanawaambia ya kwamba watawaletea pesa, be careful. You want to be taught how to fish, not to be given fish. Munataka kitu ambao, na mimi nimekuwa treasury. Hakuna mtu anaweza enda store waletee pesa warushie unless anaiba. Tuongee ukweli. Pesa ya serikali huwezi chukua ukapeana.
Musicians are driving the society. And if you want to talk about hustler, if you want to support hustler, then there is nobody who wants to be a hustler. Everybody wants to be prosperous. Everybody wants to be rich. Why should you tell people that you want to lead a hustler nation? Who wants to be hustling? People would like to come from hustler to become prosperous. Therefore, musicians must be brought up through legislation and through allocation of resources from the national funds to bring them up. We don't want to see musicians who are poor.
Every Kenyan who has a skiza is removed, 1 shilling is removed from your phone every single day. You should count that in a day, there are probably about 18 million skizas on phones. In other words, somebody collect 18 million shillings every day. If you do those mathematics, if you just give them half of that money, it will be in billions of shillings a year. And if you put 4, 5, 7, 10 billion shillings in a year in these young people, whether old or young, because of their work, put it in their pocket in a year. You don't need to do anything for them, but this is their work. Yeah, that's it. It's their work. It's their art.
Maneno mpya ya kuunganisha Kenya kwa sababu ya ile handshake inatoka hapa. Na wiki ijayo tutakuwa kule Nyanza. Alafu leo tutakwenda huko upande wa Western. Alafu tunaenda Pwani. Tunaenda kila mahali ya kuunganisha Kenya iwe kama kimoja. Uhuru nasimama pande ile na Raila pande hii.
Moving on, the Central Organization of Trade Unions, COTU, now wants the government to crack down on employment agencies notorious for corruptly recruiting Kenyans to work in foreign lands, especially in the Gulf. COTU has called for the licenses of the agencies to be revoked for working in the country without meeting minimum qualification standards. For the longest time, Kenyans have had several cases of young women killed, and many families have buried their loved ones whose only crime was poverty that drove them to seek greener pastures in the foreign land. The organization has now come out to defend the rights of Kenyans working in the diaspora. Dolly Murigi has this story.
The harrowing stories of the life of Kenyans, especially young women, at the hands of their employers in Saudi Arabia after being recruited into the Gulf countries by unscrupulous agencies is sickening. Many concerns for the longest time have been raised of increased incidences where families have been left in agony after the king dies overseas. The Central Organization of Trade Union has been on the forefront in fighting these recruitment, blaming agencies for many innocent Kenyans ending up being tortured to death, while others are subjected to slave-like standards of life while in foreign lands, with Arab countries being notorious for such cruel acts.
Sasa serikali ambayo ina supervise labor agents haiwezi kuongea na serikali ya Saudia hawa watoto wawili warudi, na walikuwa wameuziwa watu wengine 15. When you go there, you are sold to about 5-10 employers.
KOTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli has called on the Ministry of Interior, Labour and that of Foreign Affairs to immediately stop the operation of the employment agencies infamously known to corruptly facilitate the travel of Kenyans to Saudi Arabia.
Kenyan employment agents or bureaus, they have nothing, no offices, they are briefcase people, and they are paid upfront. It's just, that's why I say it is indirect slavery. 2, I personally and my colleagues are here. We traveled with them. I have paid tickets for Kenyans who are languishing in problems outside there to come back home. Our girls in Dubai, in other, outside there, kama una kazi, una pesa, you are on your own completely on the streets.
To stem up the rapid increase of Kenyans seeking employment in poor foreign countries, Atwoli has asked the government to come up with policies geared towards creating more employment opportunities for the youth to avoid having them going to poor foreign countries in search of employment. Corruption has been the key cause of many Kenyans ending up in rogue agencies that misdirect desperate Kenyans looking for jobs in foreign countries. Atwoli stated that officials and authorities are bribed to facilitate the transportation of innocent Kenyans to a foreign land for torture in the name of employment.
Everything here. And we can tame, if we tame corruption, we can create more employment for our own children in this country. So that is my appeal. And employment cannot be tamed through politics. And employment cannot be tamed, and corruption cannot be tamed through politics.
KOTU has called on the government to establish bilateral engagement with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and sign agreement touching on the rights of Kenyans working within Saudi Arabia. Dolly Mirigi for Hope TV News Watch.
Much appreciated, Dolly. 2 suspects behind the double murder of the Dutch-based tycoon Herman Roverhurst, aged 55, and his guard, Evan Bokoro, have been remanded for 21 days to allow the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, conclude their investigations. The murder of the 2 was committed at the tycoon's home in Shanzu on 4th June 2021. Timothy Omondi alias Mohammed Khalid, 22, and Mercy Masika, 33, are the suspected to have killed Roverhurst at his Roko apartment in Shanzu area, Mombasa County. Senior Principal Magistrate David Odhiambo has directed the suspects be detained at the Bamburi and Nyali police stations as the police finish investigations. Embattled Nyandarua County Assembly Speaker Ndegwa Wahome is seeking arrest against the Assembly Deputy Speaker, Assembly Majority Leader, and the acting clerk over contempt of court. Wahome alleged that the 3 have failed to honor orders given by a Nakuru High Court to have him return to office. Speaking to the press, Wahome said that his frequent efforts to return to office as directed by the court have been futile, alleging that the 3 were not ready to obey the court orders. On July 22nd, 2021, the court issued fresh orders to have him back to office, only to find the assembly premise locked with all staff away from work on July 26, 2021. In his impeachment, Wahome has been facing allegations such as office abuse, militarizing the assembly, law disregard, among others.
court orders and respect for constitutional and statutory order has again been thrown through the window. The court issued orders as early as February to put me back into that assembly on finding that there were not enough votes to remove me from the position of the speaker. There have been more than 10 orders issued by the courts, and which have not been respected. The last order was on 22nd of this month, and the court directed that within 48 hours, all the properties of the assembly, including my offices, my vehicle, the mace, and everything else, be handed over to the clerk, Mr. Gideon Mukiri Mushiri. And the 48 hours were ending on at 10 a.m. on Saturday. But because it was a weekend, we issued them with letters that they can do it today at 9:30. And these letters were issued to the Deputy Speaker, Sakari Mwangi Jeru, Majority Leader, Wambogo King'ori, and some other imposter at the assembly put there by Kememia, called Wajiko Muthoi, to come today to the assembly and make sure they hand over the properties of the assembly to the clerk, Gideon Mukiri Mushiri. But obviously, because I'm told they were cancelled by Kememia, that he is the law, and therefore they did not need to look at those court orders even twice, and that they should not treat them with contempt, and that nothing would happen to them. And true to that word, even the county commissioner, who is also convicted of contempt, even the county police commander, who has also been convicted of contempt, and the AP commander, who has also been convicted of contempt, and were told to come there and ensure there was smooth handover, they also never appeared.
Autopsy results on Caroline Kangongo, the cop who was found at her home in Elgeyo Marakwet, has revealed that she died from a single gunshot wound to the head. Addressing the press at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, government pathologist Johansen Oduor said the bullet that killed Kangongo went through the right chin, exiting on the left side of the head through spine and brain. Here's Velma Moresa with the details.
Government pathologist Dr. Johansen Oduor has performed an autopsy and confirmed that the late police officer Caroline Kangongo was killed by a damage caused by a bullet that went through her spine, to the brain, and to her skull. The pathologist, however, said that they are yet to determine the approach in which Kangongo died, saying this would only be unfolded once the lab tests were out.
I've just completed the autopsy of the body of the late Caroline Kangongo, and what I found out is she died because of a single gunshot wound to the head. The bullet entered the body through the right chin, exited on the left side of the head, and there was a trajectory going through the spine, through the brain. When I look at this gunshot wound entry, it was a contact wound, meaning that the gun was on the skin. There was what made me thought so. There was a hole which is caused by the bullet. There was a soot. There was areas of burning and what is called muzzle imprint. Of course, there were stories of whether she was shot or she shot herself. We will be able to establish this once we've done other investigation which we are doing.
Pathologist Oduor further stated in a public address that they have collected swabs from her hands to approach and determine the truth as to whether she pulled the trigger herself or was murdered.
We've taken swabs from the hand to find out whether there's any gunshot residues, which will be able to tell us that. But in summary, what killed her was a single gunshot wound to the head. Who are the scene looked like the incident occurred at the scene.
Family members of Kangongo who were present at the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital funeral home said they were satisfied with the findings, adding that they had also engaged a private pathologist. The female officer was the main suspect in the murder of a police officer in Nakuru and a businessman in Juja. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Velma Moresa.
Thank you, Velma. Today, 976 people have tested positive for COVID-19 from a sample size of 6,896 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now 14.2%. Total confirmed positive cases are now 198,000 2,935, and cumulative tests so far conducted are 2,103,997. Fortunately, 969 patients have recovered, and total recoveries are now 187,563. The Ministry of Health has reported 10 more deaths, all of them being facility record audits from previous months, pushing cumulative deaths to 3,882. On admissions, 1,276 patients are currently admitted in various health facilities countrywide, while 3,613 are under the home-based isolation and care program. 172 patients are in the ICU, 37 of whom are on ventilatory support, 84 on supplemental oxygen, and 51 under observation. On that note, let's take our first commercial break on Newswatch tonight. We have plenty more ahead, including school reopening. Stay with us.
This week on Turning Point.
If things are bad on the outside, listen to me, but the Holy Spirit is in charge of the inside, He will give you peace. And the Bible says it's peace that passes all understanding. Isn't that true? And you know, you can't understand that unless you've been there, and you can't tell somebody, oh, I've been where you've been. I know, no, you don't. You don't know what I've been through because you haven't been through what I've been through. And I don't know what you've been through. But I know this, when you go through something like that, that actually pulls at the very fabric of your life, if the Holy Spirit is in your heart and you're walking with the Lord, He will give you peace, and it will be something like you can't even explain to someone else. And if you try to tell a non-Christian about it, they'll just look at you like you're weird. So it's how you think about things. It's your mindset. It's setting your mind. Set your mind on the Spirit.
That's this week on Turning Point by Dr. David Jeremiah.
Welcome back. Secondary students countrywide made their way to their various schools to begin the new 2021-2022 school calendar. Their counterparts in Form 1 are expected to join the lot next week, beginning 2nd August, as announced by the Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha. The opening of schools saw motorists experience traffic jams on major highways. Most parents are concerned that the 10-day break was too short a time to be able to raise school fees. Grace Wangoi tells us more.
Kenyans are known to be last-minute shoppers, a fact witnessed by long lines in major bookshops in the city, days nearing school reopening and often on the actual reopening day. Today was no different, as hundreds of parents queued outside Savanis Bookshop Center in Nairobi, waiting for their turn to buy books before they head for school. According to the Ministry of Education school reopening calendar, more high school students are expected to make their way to school on Wednesday. It was a big day for Matatu and bus owners, who had an influx of clients owing to the huge number of students who are boarding the vehicles to get to school. The huge numbers saw major roads witness traffic snarl-ups for the better part of the day. For most parents grappling with the tough economic situation in the country, on top of paying school fees and buying new books for their learners, the experience has been tough. Although the Ministry of Education clearly instructed school heads not to hike school fees, some parents still have to dig a bit deeper into their pockets to pay more money disguised as development money. Most parents say the 10-day break was too short a time to be able to raise fees and has been quite strenuous for them to do so and take their children back to school before they miss out on learning.
Kuna wengine watu hawana pesa ya kutosha na kuna wale wengine wako nayo ya kutosha. Sasa iko gumu, lazima utafute mahali ndio upate pesa ya kununulia watoto vitambu.
So I think the 10 days break was a bit short. It's a short notice for us. Yeah, so maybe probably the government should consider giving us a longer period of time. But of course, they also have to balance between bringing the kids back to school.
Report released by Teachers Service Commission on Monday indicated that a major concern for teachers is how to manage COVID-19 in schools, stretch resources and short time to complete syllabus. For most schools across the country, setting up hand-washing station and enforcing mask-wearing regulation has been their major COVID-19 management strategy as schools continue to struggle with social distancing due to inadequate space. Grace Angoi, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Grace, for that story. As schools reopen for a new term in the country, Boy Girls High School parents today protested against a contractor who is allegedly delaying the completion of the new classes and dormitories for the new Boy Girls High School, where the students were supposed to be relocated to since last year. Speaking to the media today, chairman of the Boy Girls High School Parents Association, Juma Kombora, says that they have been pushing for the school's handing over for the last 2 months in vain. Parents say that the old Boy Girls High School was supposed to be relocated due to lack of proper learning of the students, adding that noise being produced by the SGR rail line, which was built a few meters from the school, was too much for the students while in class.
Tunaomba serikali iingilie kati, ihamishe watoto wetu, kwa sababu tulikuwa tumeahidiwa kwamba kutoka last year mwezi wa 6 watoto wangehamishwa hapa, na mpaka leo hatujui ni kwa nini, na majengo yameisha. Pale watoto wako karibu na highway, malori ni mengi, security hakuna. Pale ni watoto wetu wa kisichana, na watoto wa siku hizi wamejua mambo mengi kutuliko sisi wazazi. Hata kama kuna watchman kuna nini, hakuna security ya kutosha.
Sasa ile shule kule tuko na wanafunzi around 600 to 700. Na ile namba ambayo tunaingiza ya mwaka huu form 1 peke yake tuko na zaidi ya 200. Sasa ile capacity kule, ile nafasi kule ni ndogo, capacity tuko ni kubwa. Na tukiangalia pia wazazi pia ni wengi, tuko na wazazi almost 600 hivyo.
3 Tana River legislators have accused Governor Dalo Godana's administration for failing to resolve water shortages in the county. Speaking in Madogo area, Women Representative Rehema Hassan challenged the county leadership to make public how much the county allocated to the water department and how the same was spent. Rehema alleged that the county water officials have refused to address water shortages so that they can sell water to the residents through water trucks, which many people cannot afford. Tana River County has been faced with a water crisis for the last few months, with leaders pointing fingers at each other over the failure to have permanent water solutions.
Siko katika mambo ya ugavana ambayo nitaleta maji, lakini lazima nitakutia ukucha wewe gavana. Nikuulize kwa nini hutaki kupatia watu maji. Kwa hivyo ninatoa wito kwa ofisi hiyo, iamuke katika kitanda, itoe burangeti, ipatie watu ya Tana River maji. Kama huwezi kupeana maji, basi wewe ni khalas. Tafadhali budget uko nayo. Ofisi ya Senate haina pesa, nyinyi mnajua. Lakini yale yanahitajika kutoka kwangu ya kusukuma pesa kufikisha hapa, nimefikisha.
Ukija Madogo tumekuwa tukilipia maji bila huduma, kwa sababu hapa imewekwa rate ambayo tunalipa 1,700. In fact, Madogo ndio tunalipia maji ghali kushinda watu wengine Tana River nzima. Hola wanalipa 500, wale kule sijui 300, sijui ni ngapi. Hapa ni 1,000 na unalipia maji 1,700, na wewe kwa miezi hii yote 3-4 hauna maji ya mfereji hata kidogo. Watu wa Madogo wameishi kununua maji ya Waterbuza, na baadhi yenu watu wa county ndio mko na visima mnauza maji.
Sisi maji ya kuona kwanza ya fereji tap, kufungua mtu ashote maji na fereji ikiwa anasimama. Wakati tulikuwa Garissa ndio misho. Tangu lakini sisi tumechukua independent, tumekuja Tana River, shida maji tumeanza paka leo. Wacha tuseme ukweli. Kabla Garissa ile maji kwanza, ile project kubwa ilileta inaitwa Spencom. Wakati Spencom maji imefanya kila kitu, ikafanya handing over kwa wananchi. Kuna project kidogo ilikuwa inaitwa Madogo Water Project ambayo chairman alikuwa ni Mzee Juma. At least wakati hiyo ofisi yao ilikuwa hapo, bill unapeleka hapo. Hii shida ya county hata hakuna ba. Lakini tangu hii county yenu imekuja ndio shida kwanza imetupata.
Ya kuanzisha maji ya Madogo nimetoa kwa mfuko, si ya CDF. Wale wazee hawajakufa wako hai, watawapa ushahidi. Matatizo haya hayaishi mpaka Godana aende. Hayaishi hii shida. Tushirikiane. Jamii ya Munyoya kujeni tujenge serikali pamoja. Jamii ya Wardei kujeni tujenge serikali pamoja. Mwilwana kuja tujenge serikali pamoja. Orma kuja tujenge serikali pamoja. Wata kuja tujenge serikali pamoja. Godana aende nyumbani. Tumechoka, tumechoka, tumechoka.
Over 300,000 mangrove propagules were planted in Jomvu, Mombasa County to mark the International Day for Conservation of the Mangrove Ecosystem. The annual event, spearheaded by the Kenya Forest Service, seeks to regenerate over 40% of degraded mangrove trees as conservators remain relentless to restore the ecosystem along the Kenyan coastline over the years. Addressing the media during the exercise, Environment Chief Administrative Secretary Mohamed Elmi highlighted the importance of conserving mangrove to benefit communities around the coast, the environment, and the blue economy in general.
Yes.
I must congratulate the communities of Lamu because they have kept to the traditions and therefore they're sustainably harvesting. While at the moment it's all banned anywhere else to harvest it, in Lamu they've been allowed because they're using the traditional approaches of sustainably harvesting it. And therefore we are saying ongera to them, and we are telling all other communities this is what we need to do, and we are inviting as many more parties so that in 3 years we can have all of our coastline properly restored with the mangrove. Thank you.
By planting mangroves and protecting them, we will keep the land safe for the community so they can continue farming and producing the way they should, without compromising them through those activities. And I'm happy to see also the government agencies, all of them have joined hands together because this is a security issue. If we don't support the livelihood of the communities around the coastline, again, you know what will happen. The youth have to be engaged and be engaged meaningfully. And therefore, conservation and protection of Mkoko in the coast region also provide employment and livelihood to the young people, and therefore engaging them positively in building the nation.
President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to launch construction of Kakamega County Gold Refinery on Monday next week, according to Governor Dr. Wycliffe Oparanya and Cabinet Secretary for Petroleum and Mining John Munyes. The head of state will arrive in Kakamega on Sunday to begin his tour of Western region. CS Munyes said all gold from all parts of the country will be refined at the factory before it is exported. He noted that Kakamega has a high potential of gold, as a lot of gold had been discovered in the region, forming the decision to construct the refinery in the county.
And the other one is actually our boundary, there is the river.
We are set to go. By Sunday and Monday, we should be setting up this place for the construction of a state-of-the-art refinery. And you'll find this area will be, a boom of activities. There'll be so much happening in this region. So we want to thank the investors who've been identified to help us with this. And in the next few months, Kenyans will start seeing beehive of activities in this region.
Kakamega County has a lot of gold deposits, and the Kenya government has agreed to have a factory located here in Ikolomani Kakamega County. And we are grateful to the government for that. The minister will have regulations that will ensure that all coal that is caught in this country goes through this factory before it is exported outside the country. And through that, the national government is going to get a lot of taxes, of which Kakamega County will be entitled to 20%.
The hearing of the Matungu by-election petition at the High Court in Kakamega began with the legal team of ODM candidate David Were advancing the reasons as to why they want the election of Honorable Peter Nabulindo as Matungu MP nullified. There are claims the polling exercise and the tallying process was marred by irregularities that eventually made the outcome of the election illegitimate. Amani National Congress candidate Peter Nabulindo was declared the winner on Friday morning to trounce his closest challenger David Were of ODM, who had 10,500 votes after the results from the 116 polling stations that were declared. This is what some of the residents had to say.
Sisi tukikumbuka David Were amekuwa mbunge wa Matungu kwa miaka 15. Huu mwaka mmoja ambao amepea Peter Oscar Nabulindo nafasi kama mbunge wa Matungu, mbona asimpe nafasi atufanyie kazi kama mbunge wa Matungu? Anashinda akizungusha mbunge wetu kwa koti kila siku, ili ya kwamba lengo lake kuu zaidi ni kwamba Peter Oscar Nabulindo asiwe na wakati mzuri wa kutufanyia kazi kama wakaaji wa Matungu. Na sisi tunataka kushtumu hiki kitendo sana kama wakaaji wa Matungu, ya kwamba achana na hii maneno ya kupeleka mheshimiwa kotini. Sisi tunangoja kufanyiwa miradi, tunangoja kufanyiwa kazi ambayo mheshimiwa Peter Oscar Nabulindo alituagiza kama wakaaji wa Matungu.
Ukiangalia Matungu kwa miezi 3 ambaye Nabulindo amekuwa bungeni, tumeona mabadiliko makubwa sana. Sasa Were anaona hizo ajenda za Nabulindo sikifaulu, atashindwa nafasi ya kuja kusimama Matungu 2022 aombe kura. Hivyo mimi nakashifu hiyo kitendo, na ndasema kwamba Were usipokoma hiyo maneno na uachane na Nabulindo afanye kazi. Tunakungoja hata ukikuja 2022, hata wakirudisha tu kesho waseme tupige kura, tutakuangusha bado.
Some unfortunate news. A security guard was murdered in cold blood by unknown suspects while he was guarding a bar and lodging in Bunyala sub-county in Busia County. Key witnesses say they last saw the deceased Sylvanus Oduor on Monday evening when he was manning the establishment before discovering his body lying in a pool of blood. 4 television sets were also stolen. The OCPD Peterson Nyakundi said police have launched investigations into the crime. Joanne Awino and Alan Omondi, who work at the bar, narrated the incident that led them into discovering the body.
Tumepata report kwamba iko mtu ameuawa mahali inaitwa Kamira Bar and Restaurant ambayo iko katika Port Victoria Town. Kulingana na mali ni kwamba iko vijana 3 walienda jana kama customers wakunywa pombe kwa hiyo bar, na wakachukua room wakarara. Na kwa sababu wakunywa vinywaji na wakarara kitu saa 1. Wakati manager ameamka saa 12 asubuhi akapata mlango ni kama imefunguliwa, akaanza kutafuta watchman akapata hayuko. Wakati wanadi kwa ile marumu sio ndio chana kama merara akapata hawako wametoka. Wakati nenda kutafuta watchman akapata amefungiwa ndani ya washroom, lakini tayari ameuawa kama amefungwa kisu kwa kichwa. Kwa hivyo sasa akaanza kushuku kwamba kitu kibaya kimefanyika hapo. Ndio akapanda juu kwa restaurant kwenyewe na kwa bar na restaurant, ndio akapata kwamba screen 4 zimeibiwa kutoka kwa hiyo bar. Kwa hivyo sasa akaripoti maneno katika kituo cha polisi, na sisi tukaenda huko tukaangalia, tukapata ni ukweli kwamba kufanyika wizi kwa mabavu na mauaji ya watchman ambaye anaitwa Sylvanus Oduor ambaye ana miaka 42.
Kuja time ya kitu saa 11 jioni wakakunywa Viceroy 2 na Guarana 2 na soda 1. Kawa bili yao ikafika 1170. So vile walitaka kulipa pesa tukawaambia sisi hatuna till, mpaka msichana alikuwa na server akawapeleka huko chini kwa M-Pesa wa withdraw pesa. lakini msichana kufika huko kamwambia msichana wanataka nyumba. Sasa wakampatia msichana kijana mmoja arudi angalie room, au ikawa wanabaki wana withdraw pesa, lakini hiyo pesa yenye walipelekwa wali resist tena, wakuwa hapo, walitoka wakaenda side za town huko. Sasa kurudi hivi wakalipa bill, after kulipa bill tena wakaitisha pombe nyingine nikawapea. Sasa kufika kitu saa 1:20 nikamwambia huku curfew ilitu affect, nafaa kufunga saa 1. Sasa siwezi niwaruhusu mkae past saa 1, na already ilikuwa saa 1:20. Sasa wakanielewa tu, wakaniambia ni sawa, hatuwezi kuharibia kazi, acha sisi tulishachukua nyumba tuende tulale. Ni hivyo tu ndo nikafunga.
Let's now go across borders. The United States has made an agreement with Iraq to pull out the remaining troops on ground as it seeks to end their occupation in the country. This comes after President Biden hosted the Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi in the White House, where both men agreed for the pullout at the end of the year. In the press conference, Biden promised Kadhimi that as the troops return home, there will remain a small presence of people to assist their counterparts in training them to deal with terrorism. The Iraqi Prime Minister The Iraqi Prime Minister appreciated the United States for creating a diplomatic relationship between the two nations. Meanwhile, the last soldiers stationed in Afghanistan will be going back home in August after serving for close to 2 decades abroad. Oil firm Benchmark Group, a subsidiary of Madagascar Oil, has denied collaborating with a suspected coup planner to topple the government of President Andry Rajoelina. Speaking to reporters, the firm disclosed that it was approached for funding the initiative by a private citizen, a request it refused. The group has said that it is fully behind President Rajoelina's leadership and that it will not grant the wish of the suspect. Reports say the oil firm will be forced to answer to why it took long to come clean on the request of the plotter. The government there has since foiled a plot of an assassination attempt against the president. On that note, let's take a short commercial break. We have business and sports news coming up. Let's continue with business. Vivo Energy Kenya, a company that distributes and markets Shell-branded fuels and lubricants in the country, has partnered with NTSA to roll out a school road safety campaign dubbed Look Out Tuvuke Salama to promote a safe environment around schools. Today's launch will see 100 schools within 7 counties, namely Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, Kericho, Embu, Kisumu, and Nyeri, receive reflective stop signs to assist children in safety crossing the roads. Marianne Munyoki has this report.
According to statistics, Kenya had an estimated total of 46,530 pre-primaries, 32,344 primaries, 10,487 secondary schools as of 2019. Most children go to school at dawn and return at dusk, at times synonymous with road traffic crashes due to low visibility. The objectives of the campaign is to create awareness on the importance of road safety for school-ongoing children and ensure that children aged between 5 to 19 years get to and from school safely at all times. Speaking during the launch event, Vivo Energy Kenya Managing Director Peter Murungi said that the nature of Vivo Energy's business makes road safety a crucial pillar in the organization's safety agenda.
We don't compete in safety. So whether it is our competitors and ourselves together, we will join hands because this is a noble cause for the community, and we don't compete, and we are ready, and we have a lot of programs that are in place, but we always look for avenue of utilizing them. We will be partnering with NTSA in this program to make sure that we distribute some stop signs. You allow me to check. I think this year alone, we are going to do about 100 stop signs. And by the time we are done in 2023, it's not a stop. It's just a program period, 2023. I think we'll have distribution of 400 of them. And this is a small contribution. I can tell you it's very small.
In his remarks, NTSA Deputy Director, Safety Programs and Public Education, Duncan Kibogong, noted that children are the most vulnerable road users due to their size compared to all others. He stated that the authority plans to address road safety challenges through education at the formative years, as children often mimic the behavior of their caregivers.
When we went back and looked at the various categories of where the fatalities are actually domiciled, we realized that our children are actually vulnerable. They're vulnerable because they wake up early to go to school, to get their education. They're vulnerable because at times they're dropped in school by their parents so that the parents can go to their work areas. They're vulnerable because at the end of the day, at times there's no one to take them home, to escort them home. At times they have to stay in school later to finish their assignment. At times they have to go and share their books, so they have to go to a colleague's place to go home. And we realize that this category of young and not only just children, but the community-based approach require to have a special focus. And hence, as a shared responsibility, us at NTSA, we look for partners. We look for partners that have got a common ground to look at the education sector and see how we can work with them.
The partnership will continue to 2023, and Vivo Energy plans to donate nearly 1,000 reflective stop signs during this period. The distribution of 2021 batch of 100 lollipop signs will start in Nairobi and Mombasa counties, and other counties will follow. Reporting for Hope TV News Watch, I'm Marianne Munyoki.
Thank you, Marianne, for that report. I&M Bank Limited and Crown Motors Group Limited have entered into a vehicle asset financing partnership agreement where the bank will finance Crown Motors passenger cars and light commercial vehicles. The partnership will see the bank provide up to 100% asset financing to its customers. Under the agreement, customers will enjoy competitive interest rates as extended repayment periods of up to 5 years. The bank, through the Banca Assurance arm, will also provide an enriched comprehensive motor insurance package at a discounted premium rate through this asset finance option. Commenting on the partnership, Kihara Maina, CEO, I&M Bank Limited, noted that I&M Bank's corporate strategy focuses on driving business growth through diversification of various revenue streams. The asset financing agreement with Crown Motors is expected to complement I&M's bank strategic lending initiatives for its corporate, business, and premium banking segments. Kenya under-23 on today crashed out of the CECAFA Championship after losing to Burundi 4-2 in post-match penalties in the semi-finals at the Bahir Dar Stadium in Ethiopia. Both teams played out a barren draw in normal time, and Burundi were lucky to win in the shootout and will play neighbors Tanzania, who beat South Sudan 1-0 in the older semi at the same time in the final on June 30th. Kenya will meet South Sudan in the third place playoff. Kenya has bagged minimum points in the pool, thumping Minnows Djibouti 3-0 in their opening game on July 18th before another crucial 2-0 win against South Sudan on July 21st. Kenyan boxer Elizabeth Akinyi was earlier today eliminated from the Tokyo Olympics by a way of knockout. The referee had to the boot with 1 minute 34 seconds to go in the second round. Akinyi is the fourth boxer to exit the game after Nick Okoth, Christine Ongare, and Ellie Ojowi. Earlier this morning, Kenya Sevens men's team were eliminated after losing 12-5 to Ireland to fail to make it to the quarters. The classification match, Kenya beat host Japan 21-7. Shujaa scored their tried courtesy of Captain Andrew Amonde, Alvin Otieno, and Jeffrey Oluoch, before Faith Ogalo was also ousted from the Taekwondo 67 kilograms category round of 16 after losing 13-0 to Mandik Milika. The 2018 East African University Games gold medalist Ogalo exited the competition without registering a single point after losing all 3 rounds. It was the first Olympics appearance for Ogalo after qualifying at the 2020 African Taekwondo Olympic qualification tournament held in Rabat, Morocco. And still in Tokyo, Malkia strikers put up yet another spirited fight to go down 3-0 to South Korea in their second Pool B match at the Tokyo Olympics. Kenya, who are making a return to the games after a 16-year break, took a quick 6-1 lead in the opening set before unforced errors allowed the experienced Koreans to rally back at Ariake Arena in Tokyo. Malkia strikers are now looking forward for their next match, which they will play against Serbia on Thursday. Then on 31st, they will play Dominican Republic. Well, it's a wrap for Newswatch tonight. Thank you for watching. My name is Tess Njenga, and my sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. See you tomorrow, God willing. Have a good night. God bless you.